Welcome back to Real Geek Media. We are here tonight, August 22nd, 2024, to talk about funny and weird news stories for the past few weeks. I am Hayden Stoll. He is author Christopher Michael Blake. How are we doing tonight? Christopher, what's the word?
Settle down, everybody.
Are we ready to get into it? Are we ready to start the news?
Hayden, I think I'm deaf after hearing that. Oh. I got the first news article. Christopher Michael Blake sues co-worker for hearing loss. News at 11.
I know this one.
Yes. This is the first one, and you tell me what you think. This is the title. This is from the New York Post. By the way, anybody who's not familiar with Real Geek Media's news stories, these are actual news stories. These are not made-up stories. We tend to avoid politics in our coverage, and we go for funny/weird news stories. This one is from Japan, where a boozed-up karate master beats up a worker dressed as a ghost at a haunted house, but then sues the haunted house and loses. So if you're following this, so back in 2011, this karate guy who's drunk off his butt,
let's call him Daniel,
goes into Toei Kyoto Studio Park in 2011.
Cobra Kai.
And this ghost jumps out and scares him. Ah! Well, this karate master proceeds to give him a swift kick to the face. Well, the injured ghost employee won $68,000 from the karate pro, right, in 2015. So this is going back 9, 10, 11 years. Well, unfortunately, though, like every good Samaritan nowadays, the karate master says, whoa, wait a minute. This is not my fault. This is the theme park who let me in knowing I'm boozed up.
Of course.
And didn't tell me that these aren't actually ghosts. I was under the impression these were actually ghosts. And it's their responsibility to put up some kind of protective barrier to protect their employees.
Well then, I mean, I think there's something here. Ninjas versus ghosts, karate versus ghosts. But you gotta love the assumption, right? That it's not my fault. I kicked his ass. I should have been able to do that. It's your fault for making me kick his ass. What?
Well, the court ruled against the karate master, basically saying that, you couldn't find any justifiable motive or logical rationale for the attack. So basically, the park is not liable. Karate master has to pay. Shame on you. But this is just another case of the attorneys just going wild.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's not even close.
Wild.
So I have a question for you, Hayden. Who are the toughest people in the world?
The toughest people in the world.
Toughest people.
I don't know, man. Rugby players?
MMA?
Yeah, MMA.
Professional athletes?
Sure.
I would hazard to bet that none of them are tougher than New Jersey Transit bus drivers. Just my guess. And of course, on August 19th, we have, against New York Post, New Jersey bus driver savagely beats passenger and puts him in a chokehold for spitting on him. And this is all captured on video. A New Jersey Transit bus driver has been arrested for allegedly pummeling a strap hanger and putting him in a chokehold in a caught-on-camera attack after the passenger spat on him mid-route. Now, does this person who spit on the bus driver deserve an ass beating?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look, there's no doubt. There's no doubt whatsoever. This guy's got it coming. You want to be obnoxious? You want to be rude? You want to forget and dehumanize me and think that there are going to be no consequences to your actions? we're going to make sure that we're going to hold you to the standard of law at this point. And
Yeah.
the law is, we'll come back there and whoop your ass. So the driver touring that walker got into this violent altercation with the male passenger on the crowded Newark bus on Friday afternoon. And I know it's difficult to see in this picture here, Hayden. Basically, that's his head hanging off the railing as the bus driver strangling him.
Oh man.
Yes.
I mean, you cannot underestimate a pissed off bus driver.
He then puts the male passenger underneath of the bus railing while he continues to pummel him and continues to punch him. Everybody in the bus is like, "Stop, please stop, sir." And Walker, meanwhile, was yelling at the guy. I was punching this guy in the head, said, "You fucked up. What the fuck is wrong with you? You want to spit?" And then puts the guy in a chokehold. So, of course, the cops show up. Who do they arrest?
The bus driver.
And they do. They arrest the bus driver. But I don't see why. This guy should be a hero.
Yes.
There's no reason why he should be endured to be spit on. He was assaulted first. He was defending himself.
Yeah.
And, there's no cops on this bus to protect him and his rights. And meanwhile, some people just feel emboldened nowadays to go ahead and act stupid with no consequences.
Yeah.
And, every now and then, somebody needs a good ass whooping.
Yeah. There's a time where the bus driver would have been a hero, right? And would have been lauded as a hero. The days we live in, he's persecuted.
So he was arrested for...
Kind of wild.
I'll make sure I give you the proper... For aggravated assault.
That's crazy.
Probably going to lose his job.
Yep.
Of course, the guy who spit on us probably goes through the bus company. Probably goes through this guy Walker, gets some kind of paycheck. And meanwhile, he's the one who instigated the whole thing. Yep. He walks out, doesn't get charged with anything, and doesn't suffer any injuries.
That's kind of crazy. The world we live in.
Hayden, have you heard about the hottest new movie project out there right now?
I'll
give you a hint. I'll give you a hint.
Let's talk Crimson Harvest.
It's currently on Indiegogo campaigns. Right now, Crimson Harvest with a Z. If you want to be in a movie with Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp, this is your opportunity to be an actor. Sure, you can go to school, study acting for 4 or 5 years, get your headshots, spend a boatload of movie and time trying to get an agent to try to get you a bit part in a movie. Or you can fast forward and boost your career right now, 4 to 5 years into the future. You get a speaking role, Hollywood level production, right here, Crimson Harvest, Indiegogo, check it out. Hayden, is your business looking for an affordable way to gain and attract new clients?
I would say it is.
But what if your business can't afford a sponsorship with a real company, say like, I don't know, BillMaher.com or any of these big ones?
Well, I'm going to have to look for an affordable rate at a place that's growing and new.
Now, would that be a place for like New Jersey Transit drivers or?
Absolutely.
Well, here at RealGeekMedia.com, we take the side of New Jersey Transit drivers. So if you want to, instead of having your advertisement on a billboard, you see the cat right behind me?
I did.
He was meowing.
It's a ghost. It's a ghost. Do some kung fu on it.
Look, that thing is malicious. Okay, Tiny is malicious. He was meowing all through our last segment, and it bothered me. That's another story. I should have put him outside while we were doing break. But on RealGeekMedia.com, he could be the face. He has a cute face, by the way. She has a cute face. Tiny has a cute face. That could be your face for your product. All you got to do, go to our website, www.realgeekmedia.com. Click on the links, advertise us, sponsor us, donate here. There's different price levels. We'll work with you. We want to put your product here, right where our advertisement is right now, and talk about how great and wonderful your products are. Product placement starts at how much, Hayden?
Slashing prices time. $15.
Hayden, we're going out of business basically with these sales. How can we afford to stay in business?
We'll see Crazy Eddie when we get there.
Yeah, I'm not going to see him in jail. Hayden, let's talk about Christopher Michael Blake's newest book, Seance, book one of the Witches of Summer's End series. We're talking about Nancy coming home to her ancestral home after the death of her mother. She's starting off in a new school. She's avoiding the school bullies when she finds out she's descended from a long line of witches. She also finds a magic spell book when her and her new friends, who were the outcasts, the teens who were not popular, decide to make themselves popular. All of a sudden, life is good for them. However, not everybody at the school is so happy with this. And when the magic spell book is stolen, all heck breaks loose. And I don't mean the kind of tinies going on behind me down here. I mean whirlwinds, tornadoes, wrath of God. We're talking
cats and dogs living together.
Yes. Cream puffs walking down the streets of New York. It's up to Nancy and her friends to save the school. But can she do it while going to homecoming with the all-star quarterback? You got to buy the book, Seance, book one of the Witches of Summer's End series. That's from Christopher Michael Blake, www.christophermichaelblake.com or at amazon.com. Hayden, we're going to keep on rolling here. The UFO apocalypse is upon us, Hayden.
It is.
And this is from the New York Post as well. Airplane pilots record multiple UFOs dancing in the sky that do not show up on the radar.
Troublesome.
Pilots witnessed and filmed in detail several UFOs maneuvering across the night sky in ways impossible for man-made planes. I'm not going to try to name this guy. We'll call him Pangiman, who was a vlogger who was flying a Boeing 47 from Saudi Arabia to Nigeria when he saw the stunning act cross his view and that of his colleagues in the cockpit. Basically, these lights in the air, there's some pictures of these lights. You can't really make them out. Mm-hmm. Spherical. They're streaking across the sky. They get to the bottom of the screen, the horizon, and then they shoot back up at speeds that should not be possible for man-made objects to do. He says it compared it to dancing. What's your take on all this?
It's got to be a little unnerving. Like if you see something like that as a pilot, right? You know, we've seen enough movies where there's alien craft, like Independence Day, right? Close Encounters, you know, all these types of movies we've seen, right? So as a pilot, you're flying along, you're just doing your normal route, and here comes these dancing lights all over the place, and you're just like, what is this? What do I call this in as? This is crazy. You know, I see some of these videos and things, and you know, what do you chalk it up to? Is it like drones that are kind of synced to move together to look like a craft? I think a lot of it's going to depend on like the speed at which they move. You know, listen, that stuff is out there, and I think, you know, the means that people have to capture things on video nowadays, it's just going to keep seeing stuff like this. It's not going to stop. There's something out there. I believe it 100%. There's something out there. But
I'm ready to call Dr. Taylor in from Skinwalker Ranch to investigate this stuff. You got to get him out there.
Yeah.
I'm curious to explain this stuff to me.
Yeah. As long as he brings Dragon with him.
Dragon's not leaving that ranch. That Dragon's locking himself in the basement at this point.
Gotta have security.
I'll tell you what, I'm watching Skinwalker Ranch. I know I'm a couple episodes behind. But it's scary when the big guy on the ranch, the big security guard, who's like the one with the question mark over his head permanently, he's pointing stuff out to the astrophysicists.
You know it's bad when.
And because he's like, isn't this the same area where XYZ happened last year and this happened and this happened? And you're like, oh my gosh, you're right. And I'm sitting there like, we're all in trouble now.
Yeah.
And I know you haven't watched the last couple seasons, but it's
I'm behind. Look, great show though.
Look, this is the answer for everything. Is we have to launch a rocket to find out what's going on. What's going on? The drones aren't working. We got to launch a rocket. Oh, we got a UAP in there. Launch a rocket. Oh, look, this guy's over here. He's growing a bump on his head. He doesn't feel well. Launch a rocket.
There's one answer and one answer only.
Oh, the drill won't go through the mountain? Launch a rocket. That's it. That's it. Oh, we got UAP coming out over here from this mountain from somewhere, and it's like, because right now they're dealing with all these kinds of time sensorial distortions. So they got GPS that's here, and they're sending like waves and radio frequencies into this area here, and they're showing up over here on this side of the ranch.
Uh-oh.
So they know there's like a time distortion effect going on where it could be like a wormhole or a portal. So they're trying to figure all this out.
They found a Stargate.
But what do? Gotta launch a rocket.
Just, rocket. There should be a guy on that ranch named Rocket.
That would confuse people.
They just shoot him up in the air.
Science is wonderful sometimes, and this is the wave of the future. I like talking about very futuristic things sometimes. Mm-hmm. And the FDA just cleared a new device that stops bleeding from gunshot wounds in seconds. It's called Tramagal. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Tramagal, which can stop bleeding from wounds in seconds. It's already being looked at for future uses by the Department of Defense. It's basically an injection. Right. It's already been earned by the Food and Drug Administration for a medical device on Wednesday, and will change how first responders address severe bleeding.
That's interesting. How?
It's an algae and fungi-based hemostatic gel that's the color and texture of humus.
Huh.
It could be applied to the wound, helping stop the bleeding within seconds.
I mean, that's game-changing.
Look, so I was watching TikTok recently because I just got on there, and they had a video from Pennsylvania at 5 o'clock in the morning in Philadelphia, and it was comparable to downtown Beirut, the sounds that were going on down there. I think all you were missing was the rocket launchers going off. So, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's really game-changing stuff, right? If somebody's down, you respond to a gunshot wound, or you yourself, if you're an officer, you're shot. I mean, it's like Narcan, It's life-saving stuff.
So I'm almost wondering, who's the company who runs this? Cresslins? Cresilons. Because I'm sitting here looking at this and saying, I need to get in on this stock now.
Right.
No, I'm serious when I say that.
Yeah.
Because this is something that every first responder agency is going to have to employ and buy, similar to Narcan.
Yeah.
Where everybody has to carry Narcan nowadays. You're talking police are going to have this. First responders. If you're a gang member, you're going to need this. Right. Walgreens is probably going to give it away to people the same way they do during Narcan. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Until you fill the syringe and put it in somebody's eye.
Whoops.
But yeah, I'm thinking that this might be that. Yeah.
Cresslin.
Yeah. I'm going to write that down. Yeah. And not only that, you're talking Department of Defense contracts on top of this.
Oh, man. Yeah. Soldiers. Yeah.
I'm going to take a look at that. I'm going to put this one off to the side instead of throwing it down. Research that. I'll come back to that. Remember, everybody here, folks, I'm not a licensed stockbroker. I do not give financial advice. I'm just here giving my opinion as a poor individual. Just remember that. And you see the cats behind me destroying my studio? Just remember that. You see I'm waiting for this thing to fall down and hit my head so I can make news that way. Radio podcaster goes down mid cat or injured radio podcaster, Crimson Harvest all over.
That's clip of the week right there.
So we've all seen FBI, the travesties and snafus, right? I mean, they've had a long string of them. Again, this is here from New York Post. Thief ransacks FBI truck in San Francisco and then goes out and trades the pricey gear for $20 worth of meth. Can't make this up.
There you go.
A thief raided an FBI truck in broad daylight in San Francisco last month, making off with flashbang grenades, a tear gas launcher, surveillance equipment, and bulletproof vests, which he allegedly traded for $20 bag of meth.
My goodness. Wow.
Surveillance cameras have him breaking into the truck around 6:45 a.m. when it was parked downtown on Santa Cruz, California. After loading up the ill-gotten equipment, he mounts his bicycle and rode to the hotel he was staying in at less than a quarter mile away. It took the agents apparently 9 hours to track him down. But by that point in time, the ballistics vest, valued around $1,500, and tear gas gun were nowhere to be found. When the investigators quizzed Alvarez about the heist, he claimed to have traded the missing items for $20 worth of meth.
I mean, somebody made out like a bandit there.
He remains in custody, awaiting charges for felony theft of government property, burglary, grand possession, in both connection to this incident and an arrest in 2023. You know, if this was a state crime, he'd be out on bail already, but it's a federal crime, so we can prosecute this guy all day long.
Yep. Oh, boy. That's that episode of Breaking Bad right there.
Oh, no. Here's your episode of Breaking Bad.
That's a good segue.
Oh, this is really bad. Embattled judge accused of courtroom sex with bailiff cites Sex and City and Marvin Gaye for why he should keep his job. So
I'm curious.
Oh, this one gets good. Because imagine think, oh, a judge, okay, so he's having sex with the bailiff, he's having sex with this person. It's really not a big thing, right?
Right.
Happens all the time. They're human people.
Right.
Hold on. No. The embattled Oklahoma judge, facing a plethora of felony gun charges for drive-by shootings, is demanding he keeps his job after being suspended for having sex with the bailiff inside the courthouse.
Inside the courthouse.
So not only is he having sex with the bailiff, he's also being brought up on charges of conducting a drive-by shooting.
Yes. I mean, that's a wild judge right there.
Well, it gets better. District Judge Brian Lovell, who's 58, is accused of having inappropriate relationships with two female bailiffs, with the judge allegedly having sex with one of them inside the courthouse bathroom and in her office. Lovell's attorneys,
oh boy,
the judge has his own attorney, I'm sure it's the prosecutor, however, claimed that the married judge should not be removed over the affair because sex is no longer the unforgivable sin it was, citing 50 Shades of Grey, Sex in the City, and Marvin Gaye as examples of sex being in mainstream exist. You got a picture of Judge Brian Lovell?
There he is, Your Honor.
He then says the state is trying to humiliate me. Well, I really don't think the state needs any help because you're doing a fine enough job as it is.
I think the drive-by was enough.
Oh, boy. So he then has an affair with one of these bailiffs. They got her text messages in her. The woman, who was unnamed, told investigators that the two of them had sex in her car, in the courthouse bathroom, and on a new table inside of her office. But that she was proud of the table that they had sex on. But not for the reason that they had sex on it. Just, because she was proud of the table. Yes.
Yeah.
So then, this is the second person who he's had an affair with. He had an affair in 2011 with another bailiff, also during work hours where they would have sex.
Likes the bailiffs.
A panel of 5 district judges decided to keep Lovell on the bench after those complaints. So it's kind of like, oh, hey, we're all going to the same place for lunch. Yeah, we'll keep you in your spot.
Yep, because that's going to happen to me, and I'm not going to vote myself off the island. Oh, boy.
Lovell's team claims that none of these charges represent the real reason why the state wants to get rid of him. His attorneys say the state wants to get rid of this judge because of his drive-by shooting incidents last year. Last September, Lovell was indicted in Texas for allegedly shooting 6 parked cars in an intersection outside a Tex-Mex restaurant, where police said he fled the scene and rammed his SUV into a woman's cars twice.
Oh my God!
If that wasn't enough, he was also indicted this May for allegedly firing several rounds into his brother-in-law's Oklahoma home with a .40 caliber Glock pistol in February 23. Lovell says, my gun was stolen, though.
Ah, yes.
But police later found it in his possession with the bullets matching both incidents.
Oh, man. He's having a tough streak right here.
You can't make this stuff up, Hayden. You just can't.
That's wild. That's wild. I mean, that's the makings of a miniseries right there.
Just How I Met Your Bailiff.
The drive-by alone is just like classic.
How did the police not come in and take his gun the first time? I don't know.
It's a good question. That's a good question. Oh man, yeah, Bryan Cranston played the judge.
Yeah, I think he would jump at the opportunity. To be honest with you, he's been looking for something new.
Yeah.
We covered the Halal vending carts mafia a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And I think you really enjoyed that one. Well, according to New York Post, out of control New York City pedicab drivers are terrorizing terrorists, locals, and even sexually assaulting their own customers. They're like piranha. So they're saying that so far this year, there's been over 1,500 violations by pedicab-related criminals, and over 90, almost 100 reports so far. So I'm going to tell you some of these reports. They got them listed out here.
Oh boy.
In May, a half a dozen pedicabbers surrounded a hansom carriage driver after he asked one of them not to wash his bicycle in a fountain horses regularly drink from in Central Park. The hot-headed pedicab driver decked the 51-year-old carriage driver. Pedicab driver traded blows with a trio of riders over their fare in June, according to a wild video of the incident.
Oh, my God.
Another pedicab driver was caught on camera near Central Park in August, calling a carriage driver a dirty bitch and an Irish slut. The brute is then seen raising his hand, threatening to smack another man who's recording the altercation. A pedicab driver in Midtown randomly spat on a transgender woman's face as the man in the vehicle called her a tranny in May of 23. The 27-year-old was arrested and charged with aggravated harassment. The Glass House Tavern said pedicabbers engage in coordinated campaigns to tank businesses with a cluster of one-star Google reviews, and even post signs on the streets in West 47th warning nearby theater goers about the exorbitant prices the drivers charge. Recently, these drivers have become more aggressive and verbally abusive to our staff. And, of course, they go on to say how they've been parked outside of nightclubs at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when you're trying to get a cab. And here these pedicab drivers are. These women get in, they're intoxicated, and these drivers are literally reaching over the back and sexually assaulting these women by grabbing and groping them.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so they got pictures of these guys fighting here if you want to see it.
Oh, there you go. It's squaring up.
Look, hey. I mean, look.
I mean, this day and age, man, some wild times. Wild.
Go ahead, Hayden. Go ahead.
I mean, it's like anybody and everybody at this point, right? Is like going at it, arguing, fighting people, just short fuse, and but like we've been saying, like the general theme is there's no repercussions for any of this stuff, by and large.
See, but I have a way to combat this. You want this to end? Free that New Jersey transit driver and tell him to go out there and go settle this up. Have him be the Punisher.
Charlie Bronson.
That's it. Go. It's over. It's over.
Yeah.
New Jersey transit. I mean, look, I think that's the toughest job that you can have where you're dealing with the public every day and having to maintain your cool and your collective and trying to be respectful to people.
Yeah. And
trying to be friendly to people and then having them disrespect you for no reason whatsoever. Because you got all kinds of kooks.
Yeah.
These are not like, Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Hayden, there's been a lot of studies lately. So I have to ask, does your wife find you unattractive because of the hobbies that you have?
I would say no.
What is the number one hobby that they say is the women find the most unattractive?
I would say video games.
As you've seen this before. You saw this already. You're cheating. Okay.
I'm gonna video games, maybe card or toy collecting.
Yep, collecting figurines is number 2.
Right. Yeah.
You
Cards,
don't do magic tricks, do you?
comic books, maybe.
No,
Magic tricks is on there. I'll let you run it
Tricks is
down.
3.
Run it down.
Magic tricks is 3. Online trolling, I can't believe we do that here.
Wow.
That's number 5. So Hayden, you got 4 of the top 5.
Wow.
Yeah, gambling is 5. Building model trains, taxidermy, comic book collecting, and bird watching.
People birdwatch still.
So this woman here, Liz Wheeler, a White Ring commentator, made the polarizing proclamation on X on Monday with a post that's clicked up to more than 18 million views and plenty of backlash. These are the least attractive hobbies for men according to women.
That's so funny.
Now, my question to Liz Wheeler would be this. Right now, there's a steady stream of women out there who are saying, where are the men at? The real men. We need them back. We need men who are going to be tough and to do their own thing and to be original. But these men who are out there doing that are not marrying and settling down, which is also a concern for a lot of women out there right now that men have kind of checked out. That's a legitimate concern that I am reading on all my research studies. This is why I'm receiving a doctorate in this, by the way. In my study of men checking out in society nowadays, and the reasons why this is how they're being disfranchised. And, it's my FBD studies. Yes, fat bald dude, hashtag. And it's just my opinion is if a woman's looking for husband material and a safe guy to be with, and he's doing this kinds of stuff, which is not harming anybody.
Right.
Playing video games, collecting figurines, magic tricks. This is a guy who's going to be home at night.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about him at the bar, picking up your sister, picking up the stranger, cheating on you, not knowing where he's at, getting arrested. This is the guy who's going to be a good father.
100%.
And for the 18 million viewers who think and said this is the least attractive hobbies and everything, we don't, as men, because we're afraid of divorce. And my wife will never watch this, so I'm okay saying this until she confronts me. We don't sit there and tell you guys all the things that we find because we go, yes, dear, not a problem, dear, because we don't want the conflict, we don't want the problems. We want to remain married. We know that the arguments going to take longer than us just kind of giving up and just doing it.
Right.
That's real talk. We're just going to say,
100%.
Yes, dear, you're right. Because I want to avoid that conflict. Because next thing you know, we're fighting, we're arguing, things escalate. And the new studies coming out are now saying that the most abused population in domestic assault cases are actually men, not women. So, again, for Liz Wheeler, these hobbies may be unattractive, but women should be looking for these men in these places if they want to find a husband. If you want to see the family unit restored in this country, these are the men that you guys need to be enticing back into society. In Japan, they have this category of guys who literally won't look women in the eyes, and they sit at home and they play video games all day long, and they've checked out completely. I believe it's jumped to like 26% of all males in their society. And that's up from I think it was 7% like last decade, because the men over there have just checked out. They're totally not with it anymore. So, again, this is my 2 cents on this. I'm sure I'll get lambasted if anybody actually does.
You said that very well. I 100% agree with that.
And you look at video game playing, right? It can be very addictive, and I get that. But it's also an escapism. Real world sucks. You go to a job for 40 hours, you're in the car for another 10 a week. You got to sleep. You're paying bills. You're trying to cook dinner. You got your wife. You got your kids. You're taking care of everybody. You're taking care of the bills. You're taking care of the finance. Your emotional needs sometimes, at your expense. And you need that break. I'm not saying it's always correct to do that, because there's a time and place for family time.
Of course.
And there's a time and place to be a father and a husband. But there's also a time and place for you. And if Your wife knows where you're at while you're doing this. And I understand that sometimes you can't give your all when you're playing these video games. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking back to the poor guy whose daughter passed away in the car in Arizona a couple weeks ago because he was inside playing video games. That's an extreme.
Yes.
And I would say that most men are not doing that.
No.
But if it's a deal breaker that we play video games or we collect figurines or collect comic books, then I'm sorry we're not good enough for you. I suggest you get used to being single. That's my advice to you.
Good advice. Well said. Well said, sir.
I just got done mansplaining for about 5 minutes there, so I'm sorry.
Listen, I think you hit the nail on the head, man. It's viewed in the wrong light. It's viewed in the wrong light.
Look, they made a successful comedy show for 9 seasons called The Big Bang Theory, where they basically turned these nerds into sex symbols. Right? I mean, they did.
You're right. Yeah.
I mean, and these are smart guys, and but again, nobody wants that guy. They want the cowboy. They want Rip from Yellowstone.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they want, right?
Yep.
But that guy doesn't exist. The Marlboro Man is show me him.
He's a myth.
You know where he is? He's divorced 2 times already.
You're right.
With an alcohol problem. with a criminal record. And he's making less than $60,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And the women don't find him attractive either because he's not breaking any money.
He's not making 6 figures.
You don't make the 666 club. I'm going to tell you now, I check all 3 of those 6s, and guess what? I'm not worried about it. It's not like I sit here and, because guess what? People will take a look. They forgot the one part. I don't have 6 hairs on my head. So that's what it is.
Oh, man.
I know that's but it's the truth.
It is the truth.
Until I show up on the date and they're like, oh, I'm dating Lex Luthor. This is from Breitbart. 735,000 downvotes for Disney's woke Snow White trailer. Only 70,000 upvotes.
This is the weird girl.
The upcoming Disney, they say grooming syndicate, released a trailer on Saturday for its upcoming live-action Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs remake, with nearly 6.7 million views on YouTube. The downvotes outnumber the upvotes by 10 times. For context, the trailer for Disney's 2023 mega flop, The Marvels, at least came in pretty close to even with 537 upvotes and 570,000 downvotes. Part of the disgust undoubtedly has to do with the controversy around the movie, surrounding the promotion of the movie's Snow White star and the insufferable. This is again Breitbart, not Mr. Blake here from Real Geek Media who's saying this. This is Breitbart who's saying this. I'm just reading the news, so don't, this isn't my opinion. Insufferable Rachel Ziegler. Yep, okay. Spent most of her time attacking the original beloved 1937 classic as sexist and dated.
Weird.
Yeah, that's about it. She said that no Prince Charming was ever going to stalk her. Yes. And then there's Disney's cowardly decision to cave to Peter Dinklage. Dinklage is a midget who went public to address his outrage at the very idea of Snow White casting dwarves and basically took away their jobs. So, of course, we all know there's nothing wrong with casting dwarves. So the cunning actor employed a little sensitivity fascism to ensure no other little people would break out in Snow White and compete with him for roles. The dummies at Disney caved in 86 the dwarves under the absurd idea that the best way to show tolerance for midgets is to never hire them. Instead, Snow White would be met with magical beings.
That whole production for this thing is just a disaster. And then that trailer that came out, man, I don't know. I'm really curious to see how this thing does in the theater.
You know. So
nobody's doing any favors. Rachel Zegler, the casting, the production, nobody is. So I don't know.
So there's several comments on YouTube that are worth reading. Apparently, this is all according to Breitbart, not Real Geek Media. So you're telling me that the Magic Mirror is going to choose Rachel Zegler over Gal Gadot as the fairest of them all?
That's a tough
That's
sell.
some fairy tale.
That's a tough
There's a whole
sell.
bunch of them here. Hold on. Snow White 2025. I don't need any man. The Prince. That's fine. I'm here for your stepmom. As a child, I was waiting for Disney cartoons. Now I'm waiting for the comment section and thumbs down.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
7 little people have to feed their families instant noodles for years thanks to Peter Dinklage.
Oh my God.
I haven't never seen so many people rooting for an apple before.
Those are good.
Snow White breaks into a stranger's house and instructs and oversees them cleaning their house. This last was the best. Y'all really thought we would forget? Also, why did you make this version of Snow White to be a lazy squatter who forced the dwarves to clean up their home? You are feeding yourself by those who want to protect you in their own home. Yeah. Snow White squatter.
I mean,
if we're going to remake it, let's remake it.
This might be one of those movies where it has the box office is boosted just for the curiosity of it, right? Like you want to watch this train wreck.
No,
oh my God.
No, thank you. I'm not taking my. No, I'm good.
It's gonna be insane.
Hayden, we had a death last week, and it made the news, but it really wasn't as big a news as it probably should have been. And you know, we talk about as a nation, Black History Month and Juneteenth, and all that stuff that's invited with racial success stories in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew this. What is your number one cookie brand that you like to eat? That's the best cookie brand.
Oreos.
How about chocolate chip cookies?
Chips Ahoy.
How about Famous Amos?
Oh, Famous Amos. Okay.
They're delicious. They're
yes,
the best.
Yes.
In my opinion, those are the go-to cookies. Their founder passed away at 88 years old this week. Wally Amos. I never knew the guy.
I haven't heard a lick of this.
Right. And look, the guy invented the cookies. He's got a great story. The lifelong entrepreneur who no longer owned the well-known Brown company learned the recipe from his baked goods from his aunt in Harlem. He moved from Tallahassee, Florida to New York to live with her when he was 12 years old following his parents' divorce. His aunt inspired him to pursue a culinary career, and then he attended the Food Trades Vocational High School in Manhattan before dropping out to join the Air Force. So he's a vet too, right? After 4 years of service in Hawaii, he returned to the Big Apple and was hired in the mailroom of the William Morris Talent Agency. It gets better. He worked his way up the ranks and was promoted to junior agent in 1961, the first black person to earn a title at the company. It was in that role where he befriended Marvin Gaye and other famous musicians of the time and signed talents like Simon and Garfunkel.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, this is like an amazing
He's
story.
He's got a great story.
Yeah, I mean, and they got a picture of him here, right? I mean, we have all these movies being remade now. The Michael Jordan movie,
right?
The Cheetos movie that just came out where they got the Fire Brand Cheetos. Where's this guy's movie at?
For real?
Eventually, Amos moved to it says country here, across the country to Los Angeles, where he started his own talent agency. So now he's an entrepreneur, and he would bake his own cookies his free time as a stress reliever, and then bring those treats into meetings with clients. It was kind of therapy for him. He'd go to meetings with record companies or movie people and bring some cookies, and everybody was asking for them. It became a hit.
Wow.
He then decided to make his hobby his career and opened up his own bakery, and they started selling out. He became a pop culture icon known for donning a big grin and a Panama hat. He would have guest appearances in TV shows like The Jeffersons, Taxi, and The Office. But he struggled to keep the company's finances as it grew, and by 1988 had to sold off his ownership of the company. Became a motivational speaker.
That's a heck of a story, man. That really is.
And this is just great. I mean, he survived by his 4 kids and his wife.
He was 88.
88, 7 grandchildren, man. 5 great-grandchildren.
This is like, it's like the Forrest Gump story. Just
I wouldn't go that far, but I mean,
he's bumping into celebrities. He's working with music legends. He makes
those
cookies.
Are the best tasting cookies, in my opinion, because they're so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think they're better than Chips Ahoy. I think Chips Ahoy, it's kind of bland when I bite into it. No offense. I think the Nabisco really, and then all the Oreo packages have gotten smaller. They've gotten smaller. The prices have increased.
Yep.
I won't buy them unless they're on sale. So you better give me like a 2 for $7 deal, or I'm not touching. No, I'm serious, because the packets is like $5.19 now.
Yeah.
That's way too much, and they're giving you less cookies.
Yeah.
Because again, the package got smaller. It's kind of like the chips that they give you now. Oh, we're gonna charge you $3.99 for a bag of chips, but there's less chips in there.
It's a half filled with air.
Yeah, it is, and it's a shame because it's atrocious what these companies are doing, and they're charging more for their products.
Yeah, it's horrible.
But speaking of horrible companies, we're going to talk about our favorite, which is
our favorite horrible company. Oh, McDonald's. We like McDonald's, though.
I love it. Can't get enough trans fat.
Fries are so good.
So, are you aware that in some McDonald's across the country they are now charging for a to-go bag?
For a bag?
The bag that it comes in, they're charging 10 cents.
Wow.
So
I'm sure they don't tell you about that, though.
This guy Carlin, who has his own, it looks like a TikTok group, he went viral showing a clip of him stealing a food tray out of McDonald's. And he says the reason he did it was because what he's doing is every time he goes to McDonald's now, they want to charge him 10 cents for a bag.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to go take the food out to his car to go eat, to go. Well, no, sir, we need to charge you a bag. So if you don't want the bag, you can carry it in your hands. So he just asked for a tray. Like, I'm going to go sit down. He don't sit down. He goes right out to his car with the tray. He takes the tray home. And how he found out was that he checked his receipt and it said bag fee on there, 10 cents.
That is wild. Now, this is just in certain areas or everywhere?
Certain areas. Certain areas for now. But knowing McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. They're going to phantom tax you. Not even going to know about it. Bag.
According to Yahoo News, McDonald's may or may not apply a bag fee to your order depending on which location you visit. The outlet goes on to state that these prices are likely dictated by city, state, and regional laws. However, the piece also indicates that these laws are about plastic bags, not paper ones. So it kind of tells you that McDonald's is really kind of getting over and just passing the buck on to the customers. This is from the daily.com, not Real Geek Media. So
that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Hayden, we're going to continue our talk on the food today. And this is from New York Post. Apparently there's a model who's going around to supermarkets, and I guess she has her own TikTok. She's a British OnlyFans model named Chloe Lopez. And can you guess what she's doing in these supermarkets?
I think if it's the one I'm thinking of, is where she takes off the underwear and leaves it.
You'd be correct.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
No matter how good looking this girl is or is not, and by the way, I don't think she's very attractive. And I'd be the first one to tell you I think she is. They got a picture of her taking her panties off here in the super. I think this is disgusting.
It's
this
disgusting.
is not the public place to do it.
Nope.
And then to leave it on produce where people are going to buy your stuff that your dirty drawers have touched.
It's gross.
You know,
I like this. It's just so disgusting, man. Skeevy, gross, whatever word you want to use. This is a disgusting individual.
On Chloe's latest video scandal stunt, which was removed from Instagram early Monday afternoon, Lopez slips her black lace thong off of her white dress in the middle of the grocery store aisle, tosses them on a shelf of food with a cheeky smile, and saunters off the shop as shoppers look on in disbelief. Yeah. Some of the people in her comment section before the video was removed called for her to be arrested and her social media account to be shut down. It should be.
Yeah, 100%.
This is not something that people need to be like.
Nope.
All these knockout videos that were going on and need to be shut down.
Yep.
This behavior is not okay. It's beyond disgusting and beyond sickening, noting that she was contaminating the food and could make people sick.
Yeah.
Another user asked, why is she not in jail yet?
Great question. Great question.
In other videos, Lopez is seen leaving her underwear on a cafe table with a receipt along top a public memorial and on top of a nozzle of a gas pump. Yeah.
Brutal.
Again, I don't support this. This is just...
No.
Look, I'm the first one to tell you if a woman's sexy and she's got it going on, but this is just like attention-seeking behavior that's not funny. It's not the right kind of attention that people want to get. You could tell me she couldn't make other videos of herself dancing or doing something to get views? That this is what she has to resort to?
It's pretty terrible. Pretty terrible. But I'm sure there's a big section of people that think it's, ooh, this is great. Those people are disgusting too.
We have talked about Channing Tatum, Gambit, in the last section we just did, reviewing Wolverine and Deadpool. And according to DailyMail.com, Channing Tatum reveals he goes on an iPhone diet and forces himself to be gadget-free after feeling he cannot be alone with his thoughts. So I have to ask you, do you ever take a break from your cell phone or social media? And if you do, for how long?
Oh, man, it's a good question. Like, even when you think you're disconnected, you're still connected. Like, for one example, when I go running, it's in my pocket and I'm listening to music through my phone, right? It's a very good question. Outside of sleep, not often. Man, not often.
I think we all need to probably go on cell phone diets or regular diets of social media.
Yeah.
I think we should go on probably for 2 months a year. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Man,
I think it would do us wonderfully good.
I agree.
But again, here I am running a podcast. So what's that tell you? Do as I say, not as I do.
They live.
Reservoir Dogs star Michael Madsen, 66, is arrested for domestic violence after shoving his wife.
Uh-oh. Joe Gage.
Now, do you think he said when he pushed her out of the house, are you going to bark all day, little doggy, or are you going to bite?
Oh, boy. Michael Madsen. I don't know. Like, every Tarantino movie he showed up in, like, you almost get the... Actually, no, I shouldn't even just say that. Any movie he's in, it's almost like he's got that same kind of presence. So, maybe?
Now, I can tell you that I know his life, the last 20 years has been very hard. He had the suicide of his son,
Yep.
the DUIs, the substance abuse issues. But, I mean, the man almost doesn't look recognizable. He looks terrible. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Michael Madsen fan. I love his movies. I like him as an actor. I think he's extremely talented. Now, I also know that he has since countered the story when I printed it out on August 19th. His attorney has now come out and said that his wife tried to break in to the house, that they're trying in the middle of a separation. And, of course, she's denying all that and says, whatever she's saying. And he's responding, no domestic violence actually occurred. Regardless if domestic violence actually occurred or not, I'm not one to judge. I'm here to tell you that I'm a Michael Madsen fan, and I just wish the best for the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's arguments and fights with spouses. You want to get into an argument with somebody, it's gonna be with a family member. Look,
9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. Yep.
You know, like I said, we'll be filming from the Burger King down the street soon.
Just as long as we don't take the tray with us to the car.
Last story for tonight, Hayden. This is from page 6. Irritated George Clooney calls out Quentin Tarantino for career diss.
I saw
Dude,
this.
fuck off. Now, these two were in the same movie together, right?
From dusk till dawn.
And George Clooney says he's a little irritated by Quentin Tarantino after the director claimed the actor was not a movie star. Quentin said some shit about me recently. I'm a little irritated by him. He did some interview where he was naming movie stars. He was talking about Pitt and somebody else. And the interviewer goes, "What about George?" And Tarantino goes, "He's not a movie star."
I got to be honest. The truth hurts for George Clooney.
I don't think he is.
Not right now.
Wow, I disagree.
He's been out of that realm for a very long time.
I disagree.
He hasn't been a top tier movie star in years, maybe a decade. You know, he's just not making movies that people care about anymore, right?
Can I say something to you?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm going to combat this. He has made some very iconic movies. You would agree with that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Marlon Brando, toward the end of his career, did he make iconic movies, or did he just go to collect the paycheck?
He made The
But
Godfather.
but that was in the 70s. In the 90s, he's making The Island of Dr. Moreau and cashing it in.
Sure.
So what I'm saying is that George Clooney was in A Ticket to Paradise, last year? Monument Men not too long ago, and
That's
maybe
like
some other stuff.
10 years ago.
What he had the fantasy movie that everybody forgot about.
Yep.
You know,
I think
he's still in movies. He's still involved in movies. You can't discount the guy because none of the stuff is taking off to the level that he was previously at. But if you put him in the right role, one that he could probably doesn't have full creative control over, is not the producer of, and for him to take a step back and to do that would be like a slap in the face for him at this point. He wants to do and make money on his own.
Right.
As his tequila brand took off, he's a creator of that.
Yeah.
You can't just take away somebody's iconic status because they haven't been in anything recently in the last 20 years that took off. He's still a movie star.
I think if you go and you look at from Out of Sight through maybe shortly after the Ocean's movies, right? That was his wheelhouse. That was his heyday, right? When Tarantino talks about movie star, he talks about Brad Pitt level, Leo DiCaprio level, Tom Cruise level, because that's the three. That's it. Those three are the only movie stars right now. And when I say movie stars, I mean bankable movie stars. If you put George Clooney in a movie, let's say he has some random thriller movie out in 2024, it's not making 100 million. If you put that out in 1999, 2003, it's over 100 million easy because it's George Clooney. His star has so far faded that I agree with Tarantino 100%. He's not the star he was back then. And when Tarantino talks about it, he talks about bankable, top bill, these guys, Brad Pitt, Leo DiCaprio, then everybody else.
Again, I disagree because he hasn't. I look at like De Niro, right? Pacino.
He's a perfect example, De Niro.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Other than The Irishman, he was on
He's
Netflix
a massively faded star that
he is.
He's
still a movie star, but he's still a movie star.
No, he is, but not like you're not going to cast Robert De Niro and expect people to show up. not like he did in the 80s and the 90s, and when he turned into comedy in the 2000s. Now nobody cares. You see more George Clooney on espresso commercials or Nescafe.
Well, you got Al Pacino dancing with the Dunkaroo commercial, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I just
Dunkaroo.
like Clooney's in that movie with Brad Pitt. Wolves, I think it's called, coming out.
Okay.
I think in the fall. It's Brad Pitt. It's George Clooney. People are going to see it. They're going to see it because it's going to bring something back to the Ocean's movies, right? People are going to want to see that team up. So that's going to make money, but a lot of that's because Brad Pitt's in it, and it's the two of them together. If you made Clooney and you paired him with, somebody else, it ain't going to do nearly what it would.
I'm not going to see. I think it's the projects. There's a movie in particular. I don't know if you've seen it or not, where he plays a hitman, and it's beautifully shot.
Oh yeah, I know the one you're talking. The American.
Oh, you talk about such an underrated movie. It's got suspense. It's got a little bit of action. The direction and cinematography is amazing. The subtext, the plot, what's going on, wonderfully done. Clooney,
he was good. But this was his heyday, though.
No, but that wasn't. That was. It was his after all. The Ocean's 11.
This is like 2005, 2007. That's right in that time.
2007.
Yeah.
I gotta say it was 10 years ago. I want to say 2014.
No, that's an old movie. Hold on, I'll find it. The American. 2010.
14 years ago, 15 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just saying that's the kind of role that he would do well in. You go see Monument Men, no one cares about Monument.
Nobody cared about it. It's
a bunch of old guys running around chasing after stuff. There's no action, there's no violence. It's not like you got Enemy at the gate.
Right.
Where snipers and the battles and Ed Harris and it's not like that movie. Right. That's which is another great Fantastic War movie. Mm-hmm. But it's, again, The American for me is like, wow, amazingly done.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a guy who wants to get out. He doesn't know who to trust. Set in a place that's just so. I mean, I wanted to go to Italy after watching that movie.
It's a good movie. If he did something like that today, nobody'd show up to watch it, though.
No one showed up to watch The American, though.
It was low budget.
But it doesn't matter. Nobody showed up to watch it.
But you're right. Nobody watched it. Right.
And it's a shame because it's a beautifully shot movie.
It's a good movie.
And it's one of my underrated movies that I watch. Like kind of like Ronin, because nobody talked about Ronin when it came out.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Yeah.
And it is. It's wonderfully done. And the
that's
actors
a good
in that movie
really
shine in that movie. I think the supporting cast in Ronin is a lot better than the American.
Yeah.
But it's not beautifully shot like the American is. It's completely different movies. The action in Ronin is a lot better. I mean, it is.
Yep.
But there's a lot more subculture plots and stuff going on in the American. You got the funeral or the Day of the Dead, whatever they're carrying everything going on, and the sniper battle, and it's just I think George Clooney though is bankable still to this day. People still know who he is in Hollywood. It's not like his stars falling. And I also think that you have some rising stars coming up still. Henry Cavill, his name gets thrown into everything that's going to happen for whatever reason, wrong, right, or indifferent. Is he bankable? No, because I think there's a lot of his movies still fail.
Yep.
You got the guy from Twisters now. I can't tell you his name. His name seems to get thrown around all over the place now too. Like he's the next big thing.
I mean, that's like a we'll see.
Exactly. We haven't seen it yet. It's one of those things where I do think you still have some things coming up. The guy from Chris Hemsworth, I think he's another one.
I think if George Clooney did not step back because of his business ventures making money, where he didn't need to act, if he never took that hiatus or whatever break, he would still be in that category. But he's so far removed from it that it doesn't even pop on the radar for me. Where I used to be like, oh, George Clooney's in this, I want to see it. Now I'm like, I don't care.
If I had to tell you, we can't cast George Clooney as the role in this movie, but we can cast Michael Madsen because he's our friend. And you see what I'm saying now?
Sure.
It's like, oh yeah. I mean, look.
But
I'll give you another example. Like Timothy Olyphant, right? He's in that movie, the one you're referencing with, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right. Yeah.
Michael Madsen's in the movie for 3 seconds holding the horse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but he basically, Tarantino gave it to him and didn't cut that scene. Basically.
Yeah.
He probably should have, because really, there's no need for that scene to be in the movie, other than to make sure Michael Madsen got to pay that. It's probably because he owed him for being in Reservoir Dogs all those years ago. But Timothy Olyphant's in that movie, and his scenes with Leonardo DiCaprio are amazing in that movie. They're running dialogue and, the subtext. And, even though, and then DiCaprio goes back to his trailer and trashes the trailer because he said the wrong thing. And the little girl, it's like, wow, you did an amazing job being the bad guy. And you don't really know that Timothy Olyphant's acting as an actor. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can almost see this being a real movie.
Right.
But Timothy Olyphant, what's he been in lately? The Deadwood remake? I mean, is he no longer an actor?
He's never been a top tier movie star. He's never been there. He never attained it. He will never attain George Clooney heights. But I'll say this: if there was a role and Tarantino put Clooney in it, Clooney's back on the map because it's going to be good dialogue. It's going to be well directed. So, Clooney, like I said, truth hurts sometimes. It's a wake up call. Maybe you need to act more. Maybe you need to get back into it. Because right now, his name alone won't sway me to see a movie the way it used to back in early 2000s.
I don't disagree with you on that. But I do think it depends on the type of role. Let's face it. Woody had the outer space movie a couple years ago, which is basically the movie that Sandra Bullock did after that.
Right. Yep.
Right. Basically the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't want to go see that. I was like, yeah, this looks.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, again, we've seen it done before. It's being done differently this time. We just watched the trailer for Slingshot.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the same two movies. This one, Slingshot, has a little bit different feel to it, what with Lawrence Fishburne and Frenchie and the dynamic plot. It makes, of the three, I would want to go see Slingshot.
I'll take Slingshot. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, no offense to Sandra Bullock. I think she's a great actress. That movie just does not appeal to me with her in it. George Clooney out in outer space. Look, if he doesn't come back, I'm not upset. It's
right.
But
right.
I do think he is still an iconic actor. If you go through 15 actors, I think you get to 20 and you're like, George Clooney's on the list. Who's ahead of him?
I mean, we don't know the context of this, right? To me, when I hear Tarantino say it, and there's a reason why George Clooney hasn't been casted in these movies, right? Because he wants bankable actors. Okay. He got Brad Pitt, he got Leo DiCaprio. This was more bankable. Tom Cruise is the only one. The only one. And I would not be surprised if he's in Tarantino's final movie because he's a bankable actor.
Do you really think Tarantino's going to hang it up?
That's so self-imposed 10 movie thing is so stupid to me.
Or do you think he's just got so much money, he's just like, F you guys.
He doesn't need to. I know he wants to write books, but I think his medium is really film.
I would buy his books.
I mean, did you read Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I have not. I don't have time to.
I know.
My to-be read list right now is.
Yeah.
My wife is ready to beat me over the head and bury me with these books.
Yeah, there's not enough time. But he wrote that, and it's got a lot of extra stuff for all of the main cast in that. Some cool stuff if you're like a fan. It's a cool book. But this is an interesting debate. I like it.
Look, and again, neither one of us are right or wrong, and it's okay. We have our difference of opinions. I mean, when I watch, and I know the last thing I heard was we're the last generation that will flip through the channels anymore. That kids nowadays don't do that. They go to that genre that they want to watch, and that's what they watch. They plug in hard, they see what's in that genre, and they see what's on that playlist, and that's what they choose from.
Mm-hmm.
They no longer sit there and flip through TBS, TNT, USA, Channel 3, 6, 9, 12, Cinemax, HBO. They're no longer doing that. When Ocean's 11, 12, 13's on, I'm watching them.
Watching it.
I'm watching. This is movies because I
love those movies.
It's fun for me to watch, and it's got good range of actors. Casey Affleck's in there, right?
Huge cast of actors.
Am I wrong with that? He's in that movie.
Yep.
In those movies, and again, he's a background character almost. He's like he's like number 13 out of everybody.
Right.
But he does a good job in those movies. So I mean, I really can't take that away from him or those movies, and I won't take away from Clooney that he made good quality movies. And I wonder if there was some kind of falling out between him and Clooney, where maybe Clooney was offered a role and he said no thanks, and Tarantino was kind of maybe a little hurt and like,
it's possible.
All right, not a problem. You know, I had this role reserved for you because Tarantino likes to use a lot of the same people.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, oh, you can't do Planet Terror. Oh, okay, I got you. What if he was the one who was supposed to be the first pick for Stuntman, whatever his name is, Mike?
Stuntman Mike.
You know, what if that was the first one and he turned it down and he had to go to Kurt Russell? Now Kurt Russell has all these movies.
Yeah, he's got
Tarantino following him. Right. He has with 3 other movies of Tarantino since then. Oh, fuck you, George.
Yeah.
So I'll send you a bottle of your own tequila for Christmas. Isn't that the ultimate fuck you?
He seems like he could be like a catty bitch.
But you know what, though? If I'm George Clooney, I had Stacy Keibler in her prime. So F you. And that's like the wild card. That's like the I got you beat. Because her legs are just, even to this day, her legs are just amazing. Are they not?
Not wrong. Not wrong.
And that's why George Clooney wins. His wife today is not as hot as Stacy Keibler, but I have to imagine she's probably less annoying. Or maybe she's more annoying. It's possible she's more annoying. I think that George maybe made a mistake with that one.
That's funny.
I think that. I don't think he could handle the American spotlight, so he went with the Italian social activist, is my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe she's part of the Illuminati and that got him in. I mean, I don't know. That's my guess.
Who knows? Who knows?
He jumped from that relationship to that one. Like,
sure did.
He couldn't get out the door fast enough.
Sure enough did.
Next thing you know, he's doing espressos.
Nescafe.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. So I really think maybe we found something here. Maybe the Illuminati owns Nescafe. And I have to say right now, I am not suicidal. So if I happen to pass away after making this claim and this connection, you know that it did happen. That the Illuminati is now connected with Nescafe.
There you go.
But they can come on to Real Geek Media and advertise here for $15.
For the low price.
We would gladly take their money, and I'll be a whore for them. So I have no problem with that.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
No George Clooney necessary.
Hold the Clooney.
There you go. Hayden, we got anything else for tonight before we wrap it up? I know it's been a long night.
I think that's it. I think we covered it all. Covered a lot of bases this evening. Hit it. Crimson Harvest time.
Crimson Harvest. Reserve your spot now. This is your chance to be in a movie. Xander Goldman, Massacre Academy, Macabre Mountain. This is your opportunity to act. Professional role. Support us now. Indiegogo.com/projects/Crimson with a Z. Harvest.com.
Check it out, everybody. And again, we'll post that out on the socials, so you click the link and you go right to the Indiegogo site. Join us again in 2 weeks. We're going to talk about Alien Romulus. Don't miss that. It's going to be a fun time. Christopher and I are going to go see that the next week or so, next week, and then we'll be back to talk about it in 2 weeks. So
And
catch us with stuff.
if we find time, we'll be back on Monday night with the premiere episode of our trailer reviews. We'll pick 3 or 4 trailers out and we'll watch them just like we did tonight with Slingshot. And we'll see if that works out, and we can keep that as a permanent part of our repertoire.
Should be exciting. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Look, I mean, I like this. We love watching trailers. I mean, let's face it, we get to the movie extra early to watch these trailers. And, you watch Osmond Golden, he'll stop the videos and he'll make comments about them. We're watching these trailers. It's not like we have to make comments and, okay, we can make the Event Horizon funny. And, oh, look, the screws coming loose on the spaceship. And, we can make these kinds of jokes. It's okay. But we love watching trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, as a movie fan, that's what you want.
That's what you want.
The trailer is supposed to
get you excited. They get you excited. Again,
I mean, does Reagan look exciting? I don't know. We have to watch the trailer.
That's right.
But that's an opportunity for us. I mean, I don't think we're going to review Reagan. I think we're going to skip that one. But this is an example.
Yeah. Check us out. It should be a fun time, and we'll post that out there when we're ready to go for Monday. So, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it, from the new studios to your homes. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.